following is a production of Cary TV, the Town of Cary's government access channel.
Thank you all for being here tonight. I thought I would start with one of my favorite things from school when I was little, and that's show and tell. For those of you who are not familiar, this is called a newspaper. It seems to be a dying breed these days. But I was really surprised to see a great article in this Sunday's Past News about downtown Cary. I'd seen the online article, but I didn't realize it was actually going to be in the paper, let alone on Sunday, and above the fold, which was exciting. Now, I don't want to concentrate right now so much on the content of the article. What I'd like to do is really kind of focus on this picture for a minute, because as I started thinking about it, you know, this photo is really about an 8-year photo in the making, and lots of investment in dollars, both private and public, in order to be able to make that happen. And so when you think about it, if you go all the way to the far end, you start, and you've had to have pharmacy, bottle and beverage. You had to have a small business owner who was willing to go in and begin renovating that and creating nightlife. And then as you move towards this, the building that we were in, hard to believe that the theater looked like that when the town purchased it and went through the renovation and added the addition. And then we're able to work to be able to have Brew, which is becoming this gathering place, sort of the third place where people are coming for coffee, and then having an entrepreneurial hub on the third floor with Co-Founders Capital, which is bringing lots of ideas and energy and people into our downtown. And then when you, you know, kind of moving a little bit down the street as well too, you get to the point where you start looking at things like, you know, Johnson Jewelers is really the oldest business that's been in operation in downtown Cary, but they took advantage of a facade improvement program that we had to be able to clean that up. And then when you think about the sidewalk, because it extends the ability to have wider sidewalks, to be able to have the opportunity to sit outside and eat your ice cream. And then that brings us all the way back to the Crosstown Pub, and just the investment that they were able to make and being able to put, you know, the tables and chairs outside, and then looking at our ordinances. Do our ordinances work to be able to allow the type of outdoor? And so it's interesting, in one snapshot that was on the news, you look at it and you go, oh, that looks like a fun place that I want to go and check out, and it seems like it happened like that. But it took a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of folks to be able to make that happen. And so I'm thinking about when we had our last, or our first, talk like this. It was almost 15 months ago. So what I'd like to do tonight is talk a little bit about the things that have happened, what we've seen, a lot of the things that you've been able to experience. And then for the second half, we'll talk a little bit about things that are to come. What's on the horizon for downtown. And I will go ahead and give you this caveat. The first part is a little bit more pretty because we have lots of pretty photos. And then when you get to the second part, it gets to more like plans and aerials, and it's not quite as exciting. So I'll give you that warning now, but it's important that we make that distinction, because 15 months ago, that's what we were looking at in a lot of things, were plans, and now we get to be able to see just some of the great things that have been happening in downtown. And the first one I think of is we're all thankful that Academy Street's completed, and I believe it turned out in a way that is beyond what a lot of us could think about. In terms of being able to have folks walking through. We were able to receive an award, a Community Enhancement Award, for that project and what it's done. And then when you have, you know, things that are beautiful and attractive and interesting, you have people who are starting to paint and do different pieces in downtown and on the street. People want to get married and have their photos. To me, when you think about it, your wedding photos are some of the most important ones and lasting memories that you may have. And to be able to have a place where downtown is a setting, you want to do that. You want to tie those memories together is really great. And then just the ability to walk and to know that you have little kids, and it's wide enough to not have to worry about the traffic or navigate that. You know, we'll even let folks wearing Durham t-shirts come to downtown Cary, which is nice. I don't know if Durham will allow them to go back to Durham since they was in downtown Cary, but it is just really neat to see that, and really it's leading to the ability to connect us to the Cary Arts Center and to the downtown park. And I think that the first phase of the downtown park is something that I mean, for me, it exceeded my expectations in the people that would be headed down and using that. I constantly hear people saying, every time I go down, there's always somebody playing or they're in the park. And I just want to show you some of the photos, the ability to have ping pong and activity and events, the ability to have it at night where it transitions from the dancing, hanging out. This was the food truck rodeo. We moved it to Academy Street and around the park. Again, just finding little spaces where folks can hang out, a dad with daughters, a mom with their kids coming down, working out, making it a place where you can do all kinds of activities and events. Is really pretty remarkable what's happening. I like this photo. It's, I like to call this the DTR photo, the determine the relationship photo. I don't know what's going on in this, but it looks like it's the couple that's sitting there and they're like, well, you know, we've been going out for a little while, and you know, it's a nice fountain. You're kind of nice. So, but it's neat that all of the components that are happening around the park, and it's just the first phase of that. There's more to come with that. And then transition a little bit to what's happening on the private side, in the private development. This is Midtown Square, just a little on East Chatham Street. And they had their grand opening on April 1st. It's about 25,000 square feet, predominantly office with a little bit of retail. You may have been to Pizzeria Felici down on the corner. The whole building at this point is either leased out or it's under contract. Which is very encouraging from the development end of things. It's exciting to know that they're going to build something, but it's much more important to know that they can lease the space out and have it filled. Pro's Epicurean Market, if you've not been there yet, they opened a couple of weeks ago. Great deli. He had a background in publishing, and it was important for him to say, you know what, this is a dream that I have to be able to come and open a market. He did have a culinary background as well, but he spent that. And really wanted to take a gamble on coming to downtown Cary, and I think he's done a great job with that. And then in the outdoor space to be able to connect people down and lead you down into Bond Brothers, and perhaps you've been to that area and you know how successful they have been. The best new brewery in the United States is what they were given the award recently with those. Again, people being able to come and hang out and enjoy great events that are bringing people to downtown. The Tutu School is going in where the Just Tire space is on the corner, so it's a little ballet and dance studio that's in there. And then this is a neat little drone photo that you can see from the flip-flop run. Now, we have a Guinness World Record now in downtown Cary. We had it, we set the world record, and then Spain took it away from us 2 months later. And then we hosted it again. And I think I'm more impressed with the fact that there were about 1,300 people who were willing to show up early on a Saturday morning to put flip-flops on and walk a 1K through downtown Cary. So just the different layers of things that are happening and going on. Excited about the farm, the expansion. They purchased the old Sorrel building, which used to be a Winn-Dixie on the corner of Harrison and Chatham. What they're doing it in phases. So the first phase was a production bakery. They ended up having a little bit of a little retail grab-and-go bakery, kind of cafe in there. You can get a little bit of coffee and sit down. They bring their food truck in. But that's the first phase, because a lot of people are like, wait a minute, they're open, and it doesn't look like they've done much to the building, and half of it's still empty. So the goal is that they'll have some additional tenants to go in. They'll build out their cafe space more, and it'll be a full kind of restaurant, cafe, and additional tenants that will be going in there as well. And there's been a lot of new things that have been opening up as well too. Jordan Lake Brewery is one of those that's been great. Just so many different things that are coming into downtown or wanting to come into downtown is really exciting to see that happening. Now we're going to do this, we'll transition a little bit into the things to come. What are the things that we want to be seeing happening and that we're working on from the plan standpoint? So this is, you may have heard that we're building a new library in downtown. We've been working with Wake County. It'll become a regional library, so 2-story library, and behind it will be a 350-space parking deck. And so to give you a little bit of orientation, so this is first phase of the park, the library, and then the deck that is happening. They're going through their final rounds of plans right now, and we hope that within the fourth quarter of this year, looking at them being able to start some work. There'll be some development opportunity around, and we're working with a few developers to see how we can integrate pieces with some mixed-use development. And then that really kind of leads to the updating of the downtown park master plan. So this was the master plan that was approved in around 2012, and you can see that some things developed a little bit differently in the way that the library is laid out and the decks are laid out. The Maiden Inn did get completed on the corner here, and so what we're going to be going through a process of hiring a national firm to come and to help us, because given what we've done with the first phase of the park, the second phase, which will be one whole park, really needs to be spectacular. It needs to complement what we have done so far. And we're going to go through a process where we'll invite 4 different firms to come down. They'll essentially just sort of pitch their services to us and what they would see happening here. And then once we select that firm, then we'll have community opportunities and processes to be able to see, well, what are the aspects that need to go into the park? Also, what are some of the pieces that, the surrounding development opportunities that could happen both here, and this is the existing library site, so what should go in that space as well once they convert and move the switch libraries and move them over. When we start to get into thinking about residential, building more opportunity for residential and for office, it's really important that we do that. So it's great to have new restaurants and businesses that are coming to downtown. But we have to be able to sustain those and grow more of those. This is a project that is going through plans right now. It's on the corner of East Chatham Street and Urban. This is the design within this, a 36 condo project. And so it's building that density. It's a for-sale product that will be happening and moving forward within that. So it gets more people coming into downtown, living in downtown, so they don't have to drive everywhere. They have the ability to walk around. If you move a little bit, this is Harrison and Chatham, if you move in this direction. This has been talked about a good bit. This is a development that has been in the works for almost 10 years. But on the corner would be about 75,000 square feet of office with ground floor retail. And then it would be 188 apartments. That's what would be wrapped here around a parking deck, which would have 466 spaces in. And then of the 466 spaces, half of those will be sold to the apartment developer, and then the other half will be retained for public parking within that. It's taken a long time because you have a private developer in the town and the First Baptist Church, because it takes property from folks and being able to develop those pieces. But we're finalizing the development agreements now, and believe that this 10-year process will come to a conclusion pretty soon. One of the pieces that is on here too is, this was taken from the last work session, which was almost a year ago, but the Ivy Ellington House is right here on the National Register, and we showed on this one it relocating within the site to work within that. There are other opportunities for it to be relocated as well, perhaps on to another site. It's important for us to be able to make sure that if it moves at all, that it can maintain its designation. And so we've worked with folks to determine, are there other opportunities for that to happen. But this is the proposal as of now that's been shown. And we'll bring all that together, hopefully, to council in the next, hopefully, month or so. So if you move a little, this is come a little south on Academy Street. This is Park, and then Walker Street over here. So this is a development that's being proposed right in between, in the middle. So it's not the properties on the corner of either one, but the ones right in the middle. And this would be a 30-unit townhome for sale product. It would be 3 stories, 3 bedroom, 3 bath. There would be rooftop decks, terraces within that, and elevators in each one. So the starting price on those will be about $550,000. But it will be built so the ones that are fronting the street will come up with a stoop, so you can see the stoop that's there, and kind of building that connection with the street connection, and then more units in the back. So a lot of office and residential development that's on the horizon. I mentioned how Johnson Jewelers had taken advantage of the facade improvement program that the town has. I think that's one of the most successful programs that we have, because it allows you to leverage funds from the town to be able to improve the facade, which we all get to benefit from an improved facade. The picture in the back, you can see what it was like before. It was tired, and they're opening up a lot of the windows, adding more windows to it. They actually went through the brick on this side. They're going to be adding the HVAC units on the top, so this will be screening those pieces here. We've already got a new restaurant that's planned to go in here, Postmaster, which is neat because it was the guy who started the bottle shop up here. Has been successful and seen what's happening and wants to continue to do more business in downtown. Transit is another key piece of what we're looking and working on right now. The half-cent sales tax was passed with the Wake Transit plan, and we're looking at how we connect through the BRT line, the bus rapid transit line between downtown Raleigh and downtown Cary, and where that goes and where that connection happens. Also looking at commuter rail. One of the things that we've got funding to do now is a feasibility study for relocation of the train station. We've done a couple of different projects, because when Amtrak comes in, it stops Academy Street and Harrison. So everything comes to a halt. We've had a plan that shows taking Walker Street under the tracks. There's a plan that shows Harrison and a bridge going over the tracks. And then there's one going, well, what if we just move the station? Would that be able to alleviate that? And we don't know the answer to that question, but it's looking at, could that be a catalyst for relocating that and creating additional development to happen around those pieces? So I think, the last kind of 2 pieces in just sort of what's been going on and thinking about that, the Imagine Cary plan has been passed and approved by council, and is really the guiding document for this type of environment. It's hard to go through a lot of those details, so I really encourage you to take a look at that, see if the vision is happening, and to understand, where we're seeing the vision going of downtown. And then another thing that we've produced, and we'll share this so that you can find it online, and we'll be updating this. This is a downtown map, not like where to find a good place to eat. This is all the information that I was just sharing with you. How can you see it in one quick glance? So where was that thing he was talking about that this development was going? Where was La Farm? Where was the German bakery? Where are all these pieces happening? Because we've had many more developers that have been coming and looking in downtown, trying to figure out how they can continue the vision of growing our downtown for us. So we'll be able to update this. We'll keep it online. We can print those pieces out as well too. So it can be a useful tool to what, as you see it necessary and helpful to see what's been going on. We're getting to a point where we were at a very high level with our downtown. And now that we have more and more folks coming to downtown, it gets more eyeballs on the street, more, does this feel safe when we're walking through? I was talking with someone earlier. We said, that little spot right in front of Ashworth, now it feels really tight. How do we think about opening that, making it feel more comfortable? Well, once you have a much wider Academy Street and you get used to 10 feet of sidewalk, you're like, oh, that's kind of nice. how do you continue to build those improvements and keep going through? So we have to, while we're continuing to look on the high level of what are those large developments, how do we continue to think through the phases of making it a great place to walk around and to be within those. So with that, I appreciate your time tonight, and then we'll have an opportunity to go into some questions.
This has been a production of Cary TV. Visit the Town of Cary's website at townofcary.org.